It was a normal night. It was the usual. Got there around 4 o'clock. A lot of patients. It's packed. The ward is packed. It's like patients on the passage, even. It's like Caesars that are waiting for you, emergencies, like other patients who are in labor. You hear the screamings and you smell blood and feces as you walk into the ward. Doing my ward round, do the ordinary stuff, right? So then we get to this patient, Mary. Everybody knows Mary. Mary has been coming regularly. Mary has been just coming all the time. She has a condition called placenta previa, right? So placenta previa is when the placenta is down there and it's blocking the baby from coming out, and the patient bleeds sometimes. She keeps coming, we stop the bleeding, she goes back home, she comes. When she bleeds, we stop the bleeding, she goes back home. This time around, when we were at the ward round, I looked at her in the eye and I knew that today was a different day. It was not like all those other days. The other doctors give me her rundown. It's like, what's going on? That's cool. Fine. We're done with that. Continue with the rest of my work. 1 a.m. At exactly 1 a.m. at night, like when everybody else is sleeping and everyone else is resting and calm and nobody thinks that anything is happening at this hour, yeah? Mary starts to bleed. Mary starts to bleed. The sister calls me. Now, these type of situations particularly happen when the best people are around. So I have my best sister there. She calls me and she's like, "Doctor, we have a problem. She's bleeding." And she looks at me with those eyes that this is not the ordinary bleeding, sir. She's bleeding. I go to Mary. Mary's bleeding. And I assess Mary and I realize that we have to operate. I call my consultant, right? So now what you need to understand is that this is a specialist that's also busy. He's busy in private, and then he's doing his thing, and then he's affording us in government some time to help out, right? And then I call him and he's busy, and then he can't help me. And it's me, Mary, and the problem. So I make a decision. Because guys, you know, as a guy, there's always a time that you're gonna have to make a decision. There's always that decision, guys. Sister, let's operate. She looks at me, she's like, "Yeah, doctor, are you sure?" I'm like, "Sister, let's operate." It's like, "Fine, let's operate." We book the patient, I explain to her how hectic this is, I go through everything. We go to theater. Again, when these type of things happen, you always have the best on the floor. I have my best anesthetist, the doctor that puts the patient to sleep. I trust her. We go into theater, I open. As soon as I deliver Jesus, I realize that now this is not just that previa that I was thinking, this is a bigger one. The placenta has gone and now dug deep into the uterus. The placenta and the uterus are one thing. And I have never seen that, and even the specialists and the big guys will tell you that this is a whale. In obstetrics and gynecology, this is that whale, this is that thing. As soon as I realize that, I'm not the only one that realizes it, because the anesthetist sees the blood pressure plummeting. Fuck! She's like, "Yo, doctor." As soon as she says this, she looks at me in the eye, and I look at her in the eye, and I'm like, "Listen." I said no word, but I look at her and I'm like, "Listen, this is happening. We're not gonna talk about it. We're gonna do it. This is now. We're doing it." She looks back at me and she nods and she starts doing her thing. And I'm operating and I'm trying my best and I'm fighting there and I'm tying and I'm doing my thing. And I'm good at my thing. I'm good. And then I close, wheel the patient to ICU. And I thought it was done. I thought it was behind us. Continue with the rest of the patients while I operate. When I go to check back on Mary, she's awake and she's like, "Doctor, I'm wet. I'm wet all over." I open her covers and the sheet that was white is now red. She's bleeding. And I know there's a problem, and I know this is bigger than me. I froze. I'm not the type of guy that freezes under pressure, gentlemen, I promise you this. But at that point of rose, at that moment, I didn't know what to do. At that moment, I was helpless. At that moment, I needed somebody. At that moment, I needed help. And the sister came, and the sister saw me. But the funny thing about this moment is that because the sister trusts me so much, when she saw me in need, when she saw me at that point, on my knees, broken and needing help, she got scared and she wanted to run away. But immediately I called her back. I'm like, sister, help me. She comes through, take the patient to theater, to ICU, care for the patient. The other doctors come now. This is around 6 a.m. now. The other doctors are coming in, at least, specialists, like the ones that we're working with. They come in around that time and they see the mess that I'm in. They take the patient to theater and they have to take out the womb. They decide that they have to take out the womb. And they do. But a man that I am, I was like, I will assist. I'm not going home. I'm supposed to go home. I'm supposed to be post-call. I'm supposed to be resting. But because this is my case, I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna assist. I assisted. We took out the womb. Mary lost her womb, number one. After that, I went to ICU, neonatal ICU, the baby ICU. I went to check up on Jesus. Jesus is 1 kilogram. Jesus is fighting because Jesus doesn't have a chance. Jesus came out early. It wasn't his time to come out. He came out early because of that problem that the mother was bleeding. I check up on Jesus on day one. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. I go home and I sleep. And now my demons come to me now. And they're like, you messed up, sir. It is your fault that this is happening. And I'm like, okay, I understand this. The next day I couldn't go to work. I didn't want to go to work. My HOD calls me and he's like, sir, come back. Mary's in ICU. Mary's alive. Mary doesn't have a womb, but Mary's alive. Jesus is in ICU. Jesus is alive. Come and treat your 2 patients. I'm like, yes, sir. I salute because that's the man that I am. Command and control. When your superior calls you, you stand and you do that. Go to work. I see Mary. I see Jesus. It's day 1. Day 2, they're fine. Day 3, they're fine. But there's something about day 3 when I check on Jesus. Jesus seems too okay, man. Jesus seems too healthy on day 3. I'm like, no, man, Jesus is doing very good. I'm worried, though. Later that day, the sisters called me and they're like, doctor, he couldn't make it. He's gone. And it hit me immediately. I'm like, Mary doesn't have a womb. And she lost Jesus. She doesn't have any kids. This was her 2nd pregnancy. She lost her first baby. And she lost the 2nd one and she doesn't have a womb. So you're telling me that this woman is never, ever, ever, ever going to be able to bear children. Is that what you're telling me, sister? And the sister was like, yeah, I guess so. But that's not why I called you. That's too random, bro. I just called you to tell you that the baby's dead. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Then I have to go and tell Mary. This is day 3, remember. This is around at night. I'm like, when I get to ICU to tell Mary about the bad news, she sees my eyes and she's like, no. Don't tell me, doctor. Don't tell me anything. And she starts thanking me. At that point, she starts crying. She's like, you saved my life. She's like, doctor, you saved my life. And that's it. It ends there. I will always be thankful to you because you saved my life. Anything else is nothing. I don't care about anything else. All I know is that you saved my life. And I took her words and they comforted me and allowed them to comfort me. But I still tell you today that the guilt I will always carry. And it is that guilt that makes me feel like I owe Mary something bigger than I can ever pay. I owe Mary the truth and I owe Mary something. I don't know what is that thing, guys. Can you guys maybe comment and just what do I owe Mary? Why do I feel guilty? Why do I feel like I owe Mary something, guys? I don't know. Say something. But that's it. that is the story that I wanted to share with you guys today. And subscribe to the channel. Let's comment. Tell me if you get the gist of it. Ask questions. Discuss it amongst yourself. That is my true reflection. I hope that you do justice to it. Try not to be too negative about it. Try to look at the positive like Mary did. And let's try and work around that. Let's take it from that point and let's move forward with it. And let's see what happens, guys. Have a lovely Friday. Again, remember this. Friday is a good day. It's good energy. We're excited here. We're not here to be depressed and sad and talk about, nah, man. If Mary can be like, yo, doctor, thank you, I'm happy, glory to you. If Mary can say that, I'm sure that the rest of us as well can jive and dance with everything else that we have made mistakes with all the guilt that we are carrying, with everything else that we might be owing. We can still jive and have some fun. I'm sure we can, right, guys? So let's have some fun. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's see where this goes. Again, when I talk to you, look into my eyes.